YouTube, what the crap's going on? HeirofCarthage here. I'm actually going to come to you on the loading screen here so that you all can see more of it up front. So this is going to be Regina and I again, but this time we're playing as High Elves. We're once again taking on Pilgrim and Parker. But wanted to show you our matchup of High Elves versus the Vampire Coast and see how this one plays out. Regina's got herself a Star Dragon, a Lariel, no surprise, a Frostheart Phoenix, another unit that she frequents. And then over here she's got a couple of nobles on their warhorse, so they're going to be anti-large, one noble on a chariot for anti-infantry, and then the Fireborn for some support. I've got two dragon princes myself. I'm rocking Tyrion because he got a buff to his AP damage. The Lothern Sea Guard got some interesting shield attributes here though too, so shielded anti-large. Very going to be a really cool unit. I've got 4 Lothern Sea Guards with shields and 4 spearmen. And like I said, my leader is Tyrion. He's on a warhorse, and then I've got a Mage of Life on a chariot for some anti-infantry duty. The vampire army is going to be a crapload of mob with handguns up front. One mob there with just the regular pistols. There's some sirens mixed in with depth guard, pole arms. There's deck gunners. I can see a couple of them back here. 2 carronades for long range, more deck gunners, 3 carronades in total it looks like. No, make it 4. Holy crap. And we got Harkon back here on his Deathstreak Terrorgeist. This guy's kind of a nightmare on this thing. He's not easy to take down with many units, and he can shoot you while he's flying around, and he's got really good missile damage, and he's got some really annoying debuffs, so you have to be careful of Harkon. They've got the Salt Lord Scuttlers here, which is a deck dropper. And let's take a look at them. They're going to be armor-piercing missiles that does flaming damage. And then we've got our standard deck droppers here, flying pistol cavalry, and just look what the carronades are doing to the Star Dragon already. Let's hit play. So I do have the Sunfang with Tyrion, because I'm hoping to get into an unarmored infantry blob with it. Dragon Princes for obvious reasons, because there's not going to be any good cavalry from the Vampire Coast, and I figured that I could use them to good effect to try and get into skirmish units or artillery. But the downside that you're going to face is the Vampire Coast do have lots of cheap polearm units, and their units don't rout from quick hits. So that's going to be the danger of just trying to plow cavalry into these units. Just look how cool these units look. We're going to come under an absolute withering missile barrage, but if we just attack straight into the front of this too, we're going to get absolutely wrecked by elite infantry, so I don't have a lot of choice, and immediately I'm not really sure how our army picks are going to overcome this. I'm going to have to bring up my Lothern Sea Guard with shields and try and do some skirmishing, see if I can kill their gun line or something. Over here on the flank, I'm already taking a little bit of fire. I'm going to have to pull back. This is a mistake by me. You can see that there's all kinds of units just swarming all over. We're going to have to watch out for Harkon. There's a goon squad here, but the carronades are doing their work, and they are just destroying the Star Dragon over here. So long range AP is something that the Vampire Coast are very capable of between deck gunners and carronades. They're going to be very good at it. You can see obviously my Sea Guard with shields will do great skirmishing, but again, since these pirates don't rout, it's harder to take their crap off the field quickly. You got to sit around and finish fights, and it can get pretty annoying. I spread my Lothern Sea Guard out so that they wouldn't be as easy of a target for mortars. We didn't end up seeing any mortars, but just tons of harassment units. Tons of harassment unit from the Vampire Coast. You can see that we're outnumbered considerably, but not really trading very well right now with the enemies. Now, we're going to try and get in here and do a little bit of attack early. I'm actually going to bring this Dragon Prince in and get into the back of some of these skirmishers. I was kind of hoping to come in here and clean up a couple of units because Regina's going to get in here as well. And again, I'm just going to focus my Lothern Sea Guards on the units that I can't attack in melee. The one thing that's good, these zombies, is they're slow. But like right here, they're not routing, and I can't really get my cavalry out of here as cleanly as I could if you hit a unit and it routed. So even though their leadership falls apart, they may not rout. It's just causing a lot of trouble. This noble's punching through here. I used the Sunfang and destroyed these sirens, like did a lot of damage to him. And the enemy lords, the other one is Count Noctilus, so he can do some healing. You can see over here, Harkon, just look at the damage he's capable of. The deck droppers came in and helped out to keep stuff busy, and Harkon, with the help of the carronades and other units, able to deal with the Star Dragon. He is not even flinching yet. Not even flinching. And he's going to get rid of that Star Dragon, which is going to leave Alarielle and her Frostheart Phoenix a lot more exposed. And I am doing everything I can to skirmish over here, while Regina is attacking mercilessly with her nobles and doing quite a bit of damage, doing the best she can. I'm kind of holding back with Tyrion and my Dragon Princes because we got whipped up on a little. But I am slowly taking damage on my Sea Guard, and I can't afford a battle of attrition right now. All these deck gunners back here are just impervious to what we've brought at the moment. And if I had brought artillery, I'm not sure how it worked out because we would have had so many carronades pointed at us. We could have outranged the deck gunners, but I don't know. I mean, possibly we could have out-skirmished if we brought enough Eagle Claw bolt throwers, and maybe that's the key, is to bring a lot of Eagle Claw bolt throwers and just force the Vampire Coast into you, because the Eagle Claw bolt throwers are pretty good from range. Carronades would outrange you, but if you could get into range, the bolt thrower tends to be pretty good at anti-artillery. It's just that how many hits would you take on the way in? I'm not sure I know the answer to that. Again, I'm using my Sea Guard, cleaning up as many kills as I can here. There are still just huge numbers of pirates left. Harkon is going to be extremely difficult to deal with. Over here, I was hoping to maybe get a quick hit, but then Harkon sees me, the pole arms are there, and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to bug out of here. But I'm going to get chased by Harkon, and I'm not in a good position to get supported by Regina at the moment. Again, her nobles are in here. They've pulled in a ton of units. They're stuck, unfortunately. A Sunfang would be perfect, but my Sunfang, I don't think it recharges the timer unless I'm in melee. Gotten rid of some deck droppers. We've gotten rid of a ton of their guns, but we've still got a lot of infantry to deal with. Still got Syrenes back here. Still got both Lords, both Noctilus and Harkon. Like I said, just not even sure how I would deal with Harkon. I'm running away from him just desperately at this point. He's used his stinking debuff on me that slows me down. It's a good play, and the carronades are firing. I mean, we are just getting eaten alive by the attrition, this Vampire Coast Army. I think this will be a demonstration of what you're seeing right here, of how you can just kind of get chewed up by the defensive attrition that the Vampire Coast can throw at you. All the missile fire, all the cheap units just kind of slowly but surely dealing you lethal amounts of damage. I need to get over here and support Regina. I should have already been over there with my cavalry units. I'm just, again, continuing to try and do as much damage with my Sea Guard as I can. Sitting back kind of sucks because I'm going to take damage, but if I just go attack to die quickly and too early. Once my Sea Guard expend their ammunition, they'll be a decent melee combatant. So that's what we'll use them for after that. Star of Avalorn here being used to buff up the Fireborn and the Frostheart Phoenix, keeping them in the fight. But again, these units just don't rout. I think that's a summon. Yeah, there's a summoned unit of them in here too. At least something in there was summoned, maybe not anymore. So Alarielle doing all the support she can, but I mean the power bar has kind of been against us. We've killed almost 1,000 pirates, but we've got at least that many more to go, and the deck gunners, they have just been relentlessly effective in this battle. Just sitting back, firing in armor-piercing missiles from range. Just relentlessly effective. This noble has a ton of kills, 150, pretty impressive. Nice work done there. My Life Mage still has quite a bit of Winds of Magic. I've been trying to save it as much as possible to hopefully use it in the late game, so we'll see whether or not I'll be successful in that. I'm out of ammo, I'm taking fire, I have to go ahead and attack in melee, but I've taken terrible attrition. In the meantime, I'm going to swing over here and try and take this handgun off my flank, but my Dragon Prince routes. There's a deck gunner back here firing in. It is just, this is a tough situation. We are just massively outnumbered and massively outranged. And if we force engagements like Regina is over here, she can do tremendous damage. But again, dealing with Harkon, he is just destroying Alarielle. Harkon is being difficult to kill, and there's an invocation that's helping him out as well. That's going to come in from this Vampire Fleet Captain. I've got my heroes back here running amok a little bit. Got Tyrion involved. Got my Noble, and I come out here after this Fleet Captain, but he's not going to be easy to clean up. Alarielle tried to use her banishment there, but not able to destroy all the vampire infantry. My infantry is going to die in melee. They'll last a decent while, as long as they can hold their leadership together, but we definitely can't defeat this depth guard unit here. My Sea Guard, other units routing. Again, attempting to put up whatever fight I can put up here. I do manage to get a hold of a deck gunner and start to shred it with this Lothern Sea Guard. These guys look so awesome when they get into melee. Their new shields look really cool too. So, get you some close-ups here, let you see some of this action. There's a depth guard with pole arms out here, and I am trying to get away from them, but they've already done some pretty significant damage here too. Yeah, it's pretty much over for us at this point. So again, here we did not bring the tools to be able to properly deal with all of the ranged from the Vampire Coast. And they were dealing so much consistent damage from range that it just ends up being extremely difficult for us to deal with. Here comes another Sun Fang. There's a lot of targets here. Ends up being fairly effective. The Sirens take a lot of damage because that's magical damage. Tyrion just racked up a lot of kills. Sirens didn't die, but we did more damage to them. Tyrion is just an absolute tank, and he's done good, but he's not going to be able to tank out this whole enemy army. Get my nobles trying to get after these units, my life mage trying to get after certain units. I'm getting some deck gunners killed. Again, if we look at the kill count here, we've taken down over 1,600 pirates. There's still 1,000 remaining. Still 1,000 remaining. We've only got 200 troops. So this is, again, how you can kind of lose that defensive battle of attrition. My Sea Guard are trying to hit above their league here because these pole arms are way out of their league. Then there's more depth guard right here. Oh, man. Yeah, not a good story for my units at this point. This one spear unit has done really well. It's just up against zombies, but the way it holds its leadership together, it's been able to kill a lot of zombies. We are just drowned by numbers. Still amazing, the tremendous number of enemy troops that we've been able to take off the battlefield. But, I mean, when you're outnumbered over 3-1, almost 4-1, you know you're going to have a work cut out for you. Look at this. We just can't kill Harkon. He just keeps healing. Can't kill him. The Frostheart Phoenix is trying, but it's going to be outmatched. Alariel manages to get back in here and drop a Star of Avalorn to help me out with my Noble, who is dealing damage to these Carronades. Tyrion, again, in good shape, but how in the world could he possibly kill all these remaining units? Even with Sun Fang, it's going to be difficult, and I'm trying to get into fights here. I did a quick charge on these Depth Guard. It didn't do any good, so I'm going to have to turn around. I'm trying to avoid Count Noctilus. He's pretty decent in melee, and I want to stay away from him, so I'm going to try and keep this Chariot rolling. I do have some healing left. I should be using it, but I'm not. Or actually, I use this Shield of Thorns here to give me a little bit of physical resistance because I'm around so many enemies. I'll try and take out the Carronade here, charge it from behind, but then we got these Depth Guard with polearms, and I managed to get in here. I get stuck, Noctilus lands a hit, and I just quickly lose my, my Life Mage very quickly. So Life might be an irony in her title here very soon because she's about to become undead. My Noble is dying. Again, Harkon is just running amok on us. In the end, about 850-ish zombies that we're not going to be able to deal with. The power bars should pretty quickly sour against us. Tyrion is a tank, but yeah, I mean, just no prayer. Not with all these Depth Guard. I'm going to go ahead and bring him in and try and attack Noctilus here. He should do decent against Noctilus in melee, but Noctilus is being supported by a significant number of infantry, so I won't really be able to do a ton of damage to him. He's going to summon up a deckhand mob there as well. I'm going to kind of charge out with Tyrion, but he doesn't have any other opportunities. Harkon finishes the Frostheart, and it's going to be a chain rout. So Regina and I are soundly defeated at the hands of Pilgrim and Parker. Just the number of troops there, absolutely insane. 1,400 troops from Parker that we had to try and chew through. And again, even though you can see we're dealing a significant amount of kills to the enemy troops, just not enough. Not enough. You can't do it. I like the army that Regina brought. That's a fun one. And it was fun to combine it where I had a little bit of mainline and skirmisher troops that can double as mainline. And again, when these guys get into melee, they're not bad, the Sea Guard, especially against zombie units. But they're going to be terrible against Depth Guard and some of these others. So I don't think that Sea Guard is necessarily a bad pick versus the Vampire Coast. But you're not going to be able to bring a ton of them when you consider again how the Vampire Coast may drown you out with expendables who are shooting you. So it can be very challenging. So this will be an interesting one. I'm gonna have to kind of rethink my high elf tactics versus the Vampire Coast. I'm still thinking that one through. It feels like the Wood Elves are really better at the skirmish fight destruction of the Vampire Coast, depending on the map, whether it makes that possible. The High Elves, their archers are pretty expensive. Like, the only way this may work out is if you were to just bring a huge number of the low-tier archers. They do tend to have really long range and high numbers, but they're going to be vulnerable. But, I mean, the thing is vulnerable to what? I mean, the Vampire Coast doesn't move around quickly. They do have the artillery, but if you could significantly drown them out with the number of archers, possibly that might be one way you could pull it off. So that might look something more like this, which wouldn't be a very exciting army, but I don't know, just a thought here. So if I go to custom battle, let's pick the High Elves. This is kind of more like what I'm thinking. Maybe you take a princess to do some skirmishing, and maybe an eagle, and then you could do something like a life mage. Again, I don't know, maybe put them on a horse. I'm not going to sit here and right size everything too perfectly. Let's see, Earthblood, regrowth. I don't know, maybe something like that. Yeah, something like that. Let's just say that, you know, we can do something this way. And then, so I think this is kind of what I had in mind. Like 6 of these archers, maybe even a couple more in light armor, and then just a lot of spears. I mean, you could do something like this, and then, you know, maybe even trade out some of these archers for more with light armor, because they'll be a little more resistant. Or you could trade them out and put some Sea Guard in here. So do you turn around, maybe not the Sea Guard with shields, maybe you do, I don't know, just because you do have the money for it. But you could drown them out with missiles this way, where now I would be bringing a lot of infantry for them to have to deal with. And high elf infantry with this martial prowess can be tricky because of all the extra melee defense. Sure, depth guard can beat it, but if they go with a depth guard focused army, they're going to get just destroyed in a hail of missiles, and they'll be too busy trying to kill all these pointless spearmen. If the princess could do some skirmishing from range on the leaders of the Vampire Coast, that could be valuable. But you'd have to be careful. Again, that flying Harkon, you'd have to stay within range of your archers or something for a little bit of support. But I don't know. I think something like this may have been more appropriate for that battle we just fought, because then I would have a huge number of troops too that the Vampire Coast would have to try and drown out. Anyway, hope you all enjoyed that one. Thank you to our opponents. They did a good job. Thank you to Regina for being on my team. Pilgrim Parker, thank you. Tell me all what you want to learn more about with the Vampire Coast. I am going to be studying as best I can, learn some viable builds. So I've showed you me playing against them. Air, why did you show us battles of you playing against them rather than how to play them? Playing against them kind of gives me a feel for how to play them, right? What things work, what don't work. So I think the next steps I'm going to take over the next couple of videos, I'm going to pick some different Vampire Coast armies, show them to you, and we'll go into battles and see how they work in battle. Anyway, hope you all enjoyed it. HeirofCarthage signing out for now. Hope to see you soon.